All of the symptoms were very subtle, and I was, in my 30s, so I was like, I'm not young, but I wasn't old enough. I obviously would never have been able to piece that together to be cancer. My name is Randi Ervin. I live in Oakland, California. I'm 41 years old, and I am a 6.5-year pancreatic neuroendocrine cancer survivor. My new doctor noticed that there was something a little bit off with my blood work. I was always pre-diabetic, and I just assumed I'm gonna be a type 2 diabetic. It runs in my family. I'm Black, I'm overweight. That makes sense. So I went in for an ultrasound, and then I had scans, and she's like, they found a tumor. We did not find out that it was truly malignant until I went in for my Whipple procedure. After my post-surgery scans, they determined that there were still some lesions in my liver and in other parts of my body. So I do go in for an octreotide shot every single month, and I also get a dotatate scan every year as well. And I got my mental health together. It's a lot and it's overwhelming, so I kind of knew that I needed to find a therapist. And when I go in for my injection, I have like a plan for what I'm gonna do pre the injection, during the injection, and after the injection, because I realized I still have anxiousness around getting it because it's very present that I still have something in my body that isn't so good for me. I'm gonna make sure I have my favorite type of tea in the morning. And then after I get my injection, I go to the comic book store or the plant shop just to like perk myself up. Just keeping up with the things I did before that are normal for me. That's how I kind of stay calm. I tend to be a fairly optimistic and maybe a little foolish person. So I was like, oh no, this is gonna be fine. And a little bit of like ignorance is bliss. Like I didn't try to think too far ahead, like acceptance, like you've got to do, your advanced healthcare directive. So there's very real things that happen where you're like, oh, the outcome could not be so great. But honestly, it was one of those like take the time, leave work a little bit early, read more, watch TV, do things that kind of keep you like happy and steady. The mental health aspect's great. I've gotten some good coping skills and just like good things in my toolkit to help better manage my mental health. My sister and my family, they're very supportive and optimistic. My mom in particular, my dad have always been more of just like, you'll figure it out. You're smart, you're capable, you'll be able to do this. The advice I would give to somebody who's diagnosed with pancreatic cancer is your healthcare team is critical. Don't try to self-diagnose. I mean, I wouldn't have come up with pancreatic neuroendocrine cancer, had never heard of it prior to that. Like I would have been like, oh, I'm a type 2 diabetic. So be very honest about all of your symptoms. And if you feel like your healthcare team's not listening to you, communicate that as well. And then sometimes you just need another team. I'm actually very happy with my healthcare team, but it does make you speak up a lot more. It makes you naturally more inquisitive, where I think before, I would never say I was truly passive, but I think like I'm very intentional now. Just having that perspective has changed because now I'm very much a partner in my healthcare. I remember when I hit my 5-year mark, I was all proud of myself, and I was like talking to the GI surgeon, and I was like, oh my God, 5 years. So I guess like now I like don't have to do any of the follow-up scans and like everything is done. And he was just like, no, that's just a benchmark. Your body has shown that it grows tumors, so for the rest of your life, you're always going to need to monitor this. And it was one of those, like, it was very humbling and a little sobering. Hopefully I'll be here, knock on wood, for decades to come. You'll be seeing me at like 95 running around and causing trouble. You have to own your healthcare journey. So there's that strength in being very intentional. You have a different perspective on life. I have a lot more confidence, I think, because you have to fight, and that's carried over to, I think, all aspects of my life.